Top 10 Private Engineering Colleges in India for 2022. A review of the top 10 private engineering colleges. What are the factors that inspire you to join a college? Is it their celebrated name, or the placement percentage, or are you on the lookout for stellar faculty and curriculum? Do you prioritize the sports facilities or the infrastructure, or is your motivating factor the NIRF ranking or the research funding of the college? Whatever your reason may be, we have got your back in making an informed choice. In this video, we're looking at the top 10 private engineering colleges in India that offer a striking salary, graduation and placement according to the NIRF for the year 2022. Are you thrilled to analyze the top 10 spots among these esteemed private institutes for 2022? Let's dive into unearthing the top-notch private engineering colleges. At number 10 comes Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, Bhubaneswar. The approved intake of UG candidates across both 2020 and 2021 was 3,450 UG students, and 2022 saw a reduced 3,300 UG students. The UG section has seen a graduation of 96.94% in 2020, 97.77% of students graduated in 2021, and finally an imposing 99.92% in 2022. The placement percentage at KIIT was a mediocre 96.16% in 2020, a much reduced 98.82% in 2021, and a slightly better 99.19% in 2022. The median annual income each year at KIIT observes a progression from 4.2 lakhs per annum in 2020 to 5.2 lakhs per annum in 2021 and a loftier 6.5 lakhs per annum in 2022. Now let's take a look at the various NIRF parameters at KIIT Bhubaneswar. 70.27% in teaching, learning and resources, 35.74% in research and professional practices, 58.52% in graduation outcomes, 76.97% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 18.58% in perception from the public. This yields an overall score of 53.06%, ranking number 42 on the NIRF table. The 9th rank is taken by Shanmuga Arts, Science, Technology and Research Academy, Thanjavur. The approved intake at SASTRA was 1,800 UG students in 2020, and then an escalation with 1,920 UG students across both 2021 and 2022. The UG students at SASTRA had seen a graduation rate of 90.22% in 2020, 92.98% in 2021, and a slightly reduced 91.58% in 2022. The placement percentage at SASTRA was 93.9% in 2020, a way higher 96.02% in 2021, and a good yet lower 90.88% in 2022. The median annual income adds up to 5 lakhs per annum across both 2020 and 2021, and a much higher 6 lakhs per annum in 2022. Now let's look at the various NIRF parameters for SASTRA. It scores 70.01% in teaching, learning and resources, 40.17% in research and professional practices, 67.29% in graduation outcomes, 55.94% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 12.59% in perception from the public. This yields an overall score of 53.36%, ranking number 41 on the NIRF table. At number 8 comes Kalasalingam Academy of Research and Education, Sri Villiputtur. The approved intake for this year stands at an adequate 1,290 UG students across both 2020 and 2021, and an all-time high of 1,470 UG students in 2022. Kalasalingam saw a magnificent 87.13% of UG students graduate within the minimum stipulated time in 2020. It was an impressive 97.94% in 2021, and the graduation percentage was a reduced yet commendable 92.76% in 2022. Analyzing the placement percentage, an outstanding 94.89% in 2020, a pronounced 95.09% in 2021, and a phenomenal placement percentage of 97.31% in 2022. The place students were offered a fine salary package of 3.67 lakhs per annum in 2020. The median salary was 4.01 lakhs per annum in 2021, and lastly, an increased 4.8 lakhs per annum in 2022 were offered as median salary. Kalasalingam has scored 73.6% in teaching, learning and resources, 32.26% in research and professional practices, 64.82% in graduation outcomes, 74.34% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 24.73% in perception from the public. Combining all of these scores, Kalasalingam gets an overall score of 54.62% and an NIRF rank of number 39. The next institution on the list at number 7 is the renowned Birla Institute of Science and Technology, Pilani. BITS Pilani's UG program in 2020 observed 2,779 UG students. In 2021, there was a further escalation to 2,831 UG students, and 2022 observed a slightly reduced 2,806 UG students. In the UG program at BITS, a phenomenal 99.07% of students graduated in 2020. The graduation percentage was a breathtaking 99.85% in 2021 and a lower yet commendable 97.93% of students graduated in 2022. The number of students placed at BITS Pilani was a stellar 98.83% in 2020, a reduced 94.9% of students were placed in 2021, and finally the least yet an appreciable 92.36% of students were placed in 2022. The median salary was 12.5 lakhs per annum in 2020. The place students were offered a median salary of a striking 14 lakhs per annum in 2021 and saw a good but a slightly reduced 13 lakhs per annum in 2022. BITS Pilani has scored 60.84% in teaching, learning and resources, 46.29% in research and professional practices, 78.27% in graduation outcomes, 54.2% in outreach and inclusivity, and lastly 36.91% in perception from the public. With all of these scores under multiple parameters, BITS has attained an overall score of 56.9% and has bagged the 29th rank on the NIRF table. Before we proceed to the 6th Premier College, welcome to College Suggest. All the facts mentioned in this video are directly sourced from the data submitted by the college to the NIRF for the 2022 ranking. We will leave the link in the description below. Click on the subscribe button and the bell icon to receive notifications on your favorite college details, college comparisons, courses, careers, and so much more. At number 6, we have the brilliant Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. Thapar has an edge when it comes to approved intake. 2020 saw this figure to be 1,865 UG students. 2021 saw an escalation of 2,265 UG students, and 2022 observed the highest approved intake of 2,395 UG students. The graduation percentage of Thapar Patiala was a commendable 91.1% in 2020. A graduation percentage which was mind-blowing 100% was observed in both 2021 and 2022. Thapar Patiala portrays a placement percentage with a breathtaking 99.82% in 2020, a much reduced 77.03% in 2021 and a better 81.89% in 2022. Thapar Patiala follows a progressive growth of 6.3 lakhs per annum in 2020, a higher 8.1 lakhs per annum in 2021, and a slightly lower 8 lakhs per annum in 2022. Thapar Patiala has a score of 59.52% in teaching, learning and resources, 56.97% in research and professional practices, 71.19% in graduation outcomes, 54.56% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 25.33% in perception from the public. Regarding all of these individual scores, Thapar Patiala has achieved an overall score of 57.18% and has been ranked at number 28 on the NIRF table. Coming in at number 5, we have Siksha O Anusandhan, Bhubaneswar. The year 2020 saw a great 1,860 UG students. 2021 eyed an intake of an even higher 2,220 UG students, and 2022 had an approved intake of a reduced 1,860 UG students. In the UG program at Siksha O Anusandhan, the figure was a stellar 98.85% in 2020. The graduation percentage was a slightly lower yet an amazing 97.96% in 2021, and an excellent 98.48% of students graduated in 2022. The number of students placed at Siksha O Anusandhan was a lofty 96.61% in 2020, an even higher 96.77% of students were placed in 2021, and finally a reduced yet appreciable 95.88% of placed students in 2022. The median salary was a constant 3.5 lakhs per annum in 2020, while a slight increase of 3.6 lakhs per annum was being offered in 2021, and finally the highest was 4 lakhs per annum to the place students at Siksha O Anusandhan in 2022. Siksha O Anusandhan has scored 75.94% in teaching, learning and resources, 40.02% in research and professional practices, 68.72% in graduation outcomes, 69.54% in outreach and inclusivity, and ultimately 19.95% in perception from the public. With the aid of all of these individual scores, Siksha O Anusandhan Bhubaneswar has attained an overall score of 57.48% and climbed up the 27th rank on the NIRF table. At number 4, we have the exceptional Amity University, Gautam Budh Nagar. The institution intake in 2020 was 1,770 UG students. 2021 also saw a similar 1,710 UG students, and 2022 saw the least approved intake, which stood at 1,150 UG students. Delving into the UG program at Amity, which was an acceptable 86.59% in 2020, the graduation percentage was a satisfactory 87.69% in 2021, and a great 95.85% of students graduated in 2022. The number of students placed was a reduced 62.03% in 2020, a slightly better 69.56% of students were placed from Amity in 2021, and Amity echoed the best of the lot with 79.63% of placed students in 2022. The median salary offered to place students in 2020 and 2021 was 3.75 lakhs per annum, and a higher median salary of 4.13 lakhs per annum granted to place students in 2022. Amity University has scored 69.95% in teaching, learning and resources, 62.18% in research and professional practices, 55.67% in graduation outcomes, 57.33% in outreach and inclusivity, and lastly 12.19% in perception from the public. The blend of all of these scores confers Amity an overall score of 57.73% and the 25th rank on the NIRF table. Now we're about to unfold the most awaited moment, the ultimate revelation of the top 3 private engineering colleges in India for the year 2022. At number 3, we have the glorious SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai. The approved intake in 2020 saw an all-time high of 6,000 UG students, and last year witnessed a lower 5,490 UG students. 2022 saw a better 5,550 UG students. The UG section at SRM has seen a graduation of 88.61% in 2020, 96.17% in 2021, and a good yet lower 90.81% in 2022. The placement percentage was a sensational 98.19% in 2020, 94.68% was the placement percentage in 2021, and an excellent 98.06% in 2022. The median annual income was 3.5 lakhs per annum in 2020, 3.6 lakhs per annum in 2021, and the highest at 4 lakhs per annum in 2022. Now let's take a look at the various NIRF parameters of SRM. The institute scored 61.21% for teaching, learning and resources, 59.2% in research and professional practices, 67.16% in graduation outcomes, 61.76% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 22.89% in perception from the public. This yields an overall score of 58.02%, ranking number 24 on the NIRF table. At the second spot, we have the illustrious Amrita Vishwa Vidhyapeetham, Coimbatore. The approved intake at Amrita Vishwa Vidhyapeetham was 2,100 UG students in 2020. However, this escalated to 2,700 students in 2021, and the highest intake of 3,180 students was observed in 2022. Delving into the UG program, which viewed an appreciable 82.23% in 2020, the graduation percentage was an even higher 89.37% in 2021, and an amazing 94.57% of students graduated in 2022. At Amrita, the number of students placed was a fine 84.14% in 2020, a sensational 90.43% of students were placed from Amrita in 2021, and a lower yet fair 88.98% in 2022. The median salary offered to place students at Amrita stands at 4 lakhs per annum in 2020, a higher median salary of 4.5 lakhs per annum in 2021, and granted place students a slightly lower 4.45 lakhs per annum in 2022. Amrita has bagged 68.97% in teaching, learning and resources, 58.64% in research and professional practices, 61.39% in graduation outcomes, 61.77% in outreach and inclusivity, and finally 41.78% in perception from the public. Summing up all of these scores, Amrita Coimbatore has attained an overall score of 60.92% and has been ranked number 19 on the NIRF table. At number 1, we have the phenomenal Vellore Institute of Technology, Vellore, which proves time and time again to be the showstopper in the country among all the private engineering colleges. VIT saw 7,140 UG students in 2020. There was a higher number of 7,660 UG students in 2021 and a slightly lower 7,540 UG students in 2022. From the UG program at VIT, the graduation percentage was a fantastic 91.19% in 2020. The number of students who graduated stood at a stellar 91.53% in 2021, and an even more amazing 95.87% of students graduated within the minimum stipulated time in 2022. Also moving on to the placement percentage, 83.28% of students were placed in 2020, 77.68% of students were placed in 2021, and this stood at a slightly better 77.89% of students in 2022. The median salary offered at VIT is an appreciable 5.5 lakhs per annum in 2020. Placed students were presented with a greater 6.5 lakhs per annum both in 2021 and 2022. VIT has scored 62.53% in teaching, learning and resources, 73.3% in research and professional practices, 69.44% in graduation outcomes, 59.27% in outreach and inclusivity, and 49.6% in perception from the public. With all of these stunning scores, VIT has an overall score of 65.53% and has been ranked at number 12 on the NIRF table. Now let us dive into a short and sweet analysis of where the colleges stand on various parameters. When we look at the graduation percentage of all of these colleges, one that tops the list is undoubtedly the Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology with a phenomenal 100%, depicting excellence in churning out more brilliant engineering graduates. Delving into the placement stats, the unparalleled winner is the Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, Bhubaneswar, with a sensational 99.19% placements, highlighting the institution's efforts to place all eligible students. Birla Institute of Science and Technology is the showstopper when it comes to the median salary package offered to place students, which is a mammoth 13 lakhs per annum. So there you have it, all the nitty-gritties of the top 10 private engineering colleges in India. What other interesting top 10s would you like to see? Let us know in the comments section below. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and for more information, visit us at collegesuggest.com.